Hope, go away.
Labeled as a troublemaker. Who can you blame? Smoking weed help me take away the pain. So I'm hopeless, rolling down the freeway, swerving. Don't worry, I'm about to crash upon the curb, cause my vision's blurry.
Cash on that money shit, fuck over your benefits. I be on that paper grit, fuck who you been fucking with. Cause if you can't respect my grind, trust me, you gon' beat this line. Bring that clap a bitch, from behind I get you gone in a minute. Sit you shot at your fitted. I make moves by myself, so ain't no code to fit it. Moving back to necessary. I'm not even trying to shine. I just hustle for my kids, and that's the bottom line. All I know is count that bread, get that money, chase that dough. Bring see the snow, rap, we the coat. Cash is all I know, and the only way that I can even cope. And last time I checked, hit me to get off hope. So say the bitches about how drugs kill, cause it's peace out of my hood. I'm just telling you what's real. I don't expect you to even understand, but be broke for one day makes you what you fucking plan.
Maybe if they tried to understand me, what should I do? I had to feed my fucking family. What else could I do? Or be a thug? I'm slanging with the homies, fuck hanging with the phonies in the club. Got my mano.
Tryna get my motherfucking man right, man right. Tryna do this music, make it sound tight, sound tight. Hella swag, so you know these bitches bang, spang. Don't know what's up, so I'm just gon' get head night, head night. Family broken, so I'm kinda lost inside, lost inside. But some just leave me to the music in the mic, in the mic. My mother said she still got so much hope inside, hope inside. My father don't know me, know what I hold aside, hold aside. Strictly for my niggas like in 93, 93. Real goons, you can take it possibly, possibly. No hope no more, they shoot up churches, churches, ain't safe no more. Niggas can't live in peace, live in peace. Crazy cause I came from the project, only if I die. Oh, stop this, stop this, stop till I motherfucking got this, got this. We hood like pie, this the apocalypse, apocalypse.
Maybe if they tried to understand me, what should I do? I had to feed my fucking family. What else could I do? Or be a thug? I'm slanging with the homies, fuck hanging with them phonies in the club. Got my mano.
Subscribe to Cash Me Out Queen. Supreme, I am supreme. Cash Me Out Queen, I am supreme.
Got my mano. Got my mano. Got my mano.
Me and Cash are going to be working on a song pretty soon together, and it's going to be the most ridiculous shit you ever fucking heard. I'm waiting on folks. I'm waiting on folks to get in here, so I'm playing some music.
Yeah. Tell me. Yeah. Revolutionary or psycho? Which one I don't know. Retaining his knowledge, fuck both. That warrior still dead though. So don't get it twisted or talk with your head. It's royalty and loyalty. That's how my tribe was bred. Revolutionary or psycho? Which one I don't know. Retaining his knowledge, fuck both. That warrior still dead though. So don't get it twisted or talk with your head. It's royalty and loyalty. That's how my tribe was bred.
Hey. Am I psycho? Am I psycho? Get it with all that whipping. I might jack, I'm not Michael. I might murder like I might go. I might be psycho.
Real, you ain't gonna do shit.
I might though. Alright, yo. I'm just being honest. This is how I feel though.
You got bars.
You got
bars. You got bars.
Africa or America? Which one is real though? I eat a plant-based diet.
Check.
It's real, Joe. I'm a conspiracy theorist. You're not a critical thinker. I talk from science and theology. I'm a king, not a real nigga. When Samson cut off his mane, he lost all of his power. So I'm looking for Esther. I do not want Delilah. I will work till I die. No retire. I need some people I can build a fucking empire with. You can and will call me sire. AKA KB is an empire.
Revolutionary or psycho? Which one I don't know. Retaining his knowledge, fuck both. That warrior still
Cash me out, Queen Supreme. Cash me out, Queen. I am Supreme. I'll put her link in the description after the live's over.
Which one I don't know, retaining his knowledge, fuck off that warrior still dead though. So don't get it twisted or it's off with your head. It's royalty and loyalty, that's how my rap was written. On a mission for this knowledge, call me crazy if you wanna, but the light inside of me lights the earth on Queen's honor. Royal blood up in my veins, my chakras be aligned, so my cop feels no pain. My third eye is the prize every man wants to claim. Yours is calcified, so we are not the same. We got nothing in common, so stay in a peasant's lane. I'm a warrior, got it spread out for nothing but pain. Settlement reincarnated on my queen shit. I remain. So it's off with your head, cause my king's insane. And that's why you hating. The truth of command is what you facing. The hands of time embrace a serpent's fate. I'm a queen that rules kings with no regrets. Can you relate? Yeah, cash gang, revolutionary or psycho. Which one I don't know. Retaining his knowledge, fuck off that warrior still dead though. So don't get it twisted or it's off with your head. It's royalty and loyalty, that's how my trap was bred. Revolutionary or psycho. Which one I don't know. Retaining his knowledge, fuck off that warrior still dead though. So don't get it twisted or it's off with your head. It's royalty and loyalty, that's how my trap was bred. They ain't ready for this knowledge, man. Respect the queen, baby.
Respect to Cash me out, Queen Supreme. Much love to you, Ma. I'm trying to figure out how to go live on Twitch at the same time, but I might have to do this another time because it's not working out for me at all. At all. So we got nobody in here right now. Most people probably at work and shit. I have a solid crew of about 10 to 15 people that come in and make sure they make it. Actually no, not 10 to 15 that make sure they make it. About 5 to 6 that make sure they make it. Maybe 7 or 8. And then there's about 15 that will come in. So, you know, channel just starting off. You know how that goes. It is what it is. You know what I mean? But we gotta rock out the way we know how to. So I'm gonna rock some Manik music to see if I get some more people up in here. And if I cannot, I will just start going on a rant. And y'all are gonna have to fucking deal with it. Or you know what? Here you go. I got a better idea. Let me put a track on while I get this ready then. I'll put a track on and I'll get this ready. This will be better. This is a better idea. Much better idea. This is one of my tracks. This is the most demonic, evil track ever. We did it for Halloween. In the spirit of Halloween. So I hope you fucking enjoy it.
Satan is his father, not guy. He came up from hell and begat a son of mortal woman. Hail Satan! Satan is his father, and his name is Satan. He shall overthrow the mighty and lay waste their temples. He shall redeem the despised and wreak vengeance in the land of the burned and the tortured.
Murder, murder, I'm twisted. 6 spirits, 6 mirrors, and 6 victims. Candles lit, machete, check. All the bodies in bond in chronological order, and all the organs neatly bottled and stored. I'm hexed, thoughts of misery, polished, assault and guilty. Drawing the pentagrams on the wall, and they're all in symmetry. All in the name of I'm in the ball when I call the spirits to enter. The conjuring of the gods, and it's all adrenaline. 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9. The beast inside, the king just died. I'm realigned, greedy, conceited, entwined demons and evil in my dreams, and I feed off a crisis. Motherfucker die when Osiris summoned up a surprise visitor, blood in his eyes.
There we go. Now now we got chats. Now we got people in here. We got some chats. Hold on, let's see what's going on. Yeah, I'll be right back.
I'm Osiris reborn, now I
religious.
appear as a human, but really I'm a demonic spirit inside of music.
Come back, Sam X. I'll turn it off, brother.
Conjuring the devil on death, and he bled into it. Now I'm a forgotten son, living vessel to a dead king. What you call living equals out to a wet dream. Hell's angels alive, and we arrived through a red stream of blood spilled in vain. 666 when his leg deep, the master of the red beast grows stronger than I ever have. Manik making magic, giving bodies as a gift of back creating copies and then giving us all the gift of gab. Once held in the dark, now we enlighten up a different path, enlightened up the public to discussing up a different math. Draw a few circles, couple stars, then you get the chat. 72 reasons why I'm back, and I'm spitting crack. I share one with you, so real. Nigga, give it back.
Alright, cool. Hold on a second. The song's almost over, dog. My computer's running a little bit slow. That's why I'm having trouble trying to get this started up. I was just gonna play this the video that I did for you guys. For Same X, tell me, how many of my videos have you seen, my brother? Are you God, I swear I forget everybody's identity, you know, except for the usual, like, you know. Come on, get out of here. All right, here we go. Damn, it won't let me do nothing, man. There we go. Fucking hell, jeez. Oh. All right. Which one was the one that they just released? They just released a video that I did from copyright, and they allowed me to finally post it up. And it is something that is very important to me. It's a very important video to me about the Butterfly Effect series, and it kind of sums it all up. It kind of sums it all up into one nice little package for you guys. And as soon as I find that, it has very few views because it was blocked for so long, and now it's buried in my videos. So that I have to find, and I'm coming up here. Give me 1 second, guys. I know I got ADD as well. There it is. Where is this video? This video had like 4 views on it. This might be it. Rough. Yes. Throwback. This is it. Alright. Let me get this shit cranked up. If you got time, my brother. Let's see what's next here. I gotta get a capture device, capture it over there, and we're good to go. And this is one of that one series that I'm always talking about, the Butterfly Effect series, that is so very important to me, and I think should be important to other people, because I think it could really help other people. So let's see where we can go with this, and let's go ahead and present it for the folks that have not yet been able to watch this. Alright. I gotta move this shit. And that. And let me bring up the chat window and all that good stuff. This will be there, and we're good. Yeah. Now my shit wasn't working at first. Look at that, look at that. Come on, man. Don't fail me. So let me skip through this. It was regular OBS won't let you. Okay, so let's get straight into the story. First, this was a live. Shot on this screen. Oh. The Butterfly Effect series. This will sum it up all in like 10 minutes. 5, 10 minutes, 15 maybe. That was hyperbole. Right, this is much longer than that. Y'all ready to rock with me on this? Or as much time as you got. If y'all don't feel like sitting here watching this shit, I'm straight with it. I completely understand. I was on my meds that night. I was a little bit tipsy. I'm looking at this. I got the chat over here. I got the chat on this screen. I don't mind coming on cam tipsy. I don't. My wife is here. With my, we're good. Come on, Manik. Put that shit on. All right, here we go. Thank you. Here we go. My bike, baby. Yeah. Oh, I missed that bitch. I missed that sexy bitch. Yeah, I was having a little trouble. There, it seems like it's coming up very soon here. There we go. Hello. You haven't talked to me shit while I was on. Alright, I'll give you a rundown real quick. If you had missed the previous chapters, I'll give you a very, very short rundown. I was born to a woman. She was 18 years old when she had me. A man that was 25-ish, 26-ish. And my mother was not mother material. She was still out in her partying days, and my father was a heroin addict. 4 years later, after he left my mother, he contracted HIV from injecting heroin and hepatitis and all that good stuff, and died. I never talked to him. I never met him. My mom pawned me off to my grandmother, my great-grandmother. Very authoritarian parents. They did not let me do shit. So basically I was stuck in my room with the very, very small amount of toys and shit I had to do. So I threw myself in music, MTV, music videos, radio and whatnot. I did my fair share of being my own DJ and mixing cassette tapes off the radio. So you could say I was raised by music, and later on in life I was raised by the peers that weren't such a good idea for me to be rocking with. Now, moved out of my grandmother's house finally with my mom, my stepdad. My mom was a goddamn sociopath, a narcissistic personality disorder, possibly bipolar. I'm not a psychiatrist, these are just assumptions. Borderline personality, whatnot. It'll be covered in the other chapters, what happened in between these times. Here I am talking about me and what it has done to me and how I came through it and whatnot. So like I said before, I was raised from the age of, I don't know, fucking 1, maybe 2, till the age of 11 or 12 by my great-grandmother, and I was in a fucking prison living with her. She was authoritarian. She didn't let me do shit, you know. She didn't let me do shit. She didn't like to let me go outside, cause of that. She didn't like for me to have friends. So that was like a feeling of being in prison. Once I moved out with my mother and my stepfather, things changed drastically for me in my childhood. So, to make a long story short, we were pretty much surrounded by alcoholism and drugs. My sister and I, once she came along, once I was around 13 or 14 years old, I believe it was 13 years old, that she finally came into the picture. And it was chaos. It was absolute chaos. I cover all this stuff in this actual series, so work with me here. This stuff is in the series, so please go watch this series. This series goes in depth into these things. It was rough at the house. It was we had some rough times. I did a lot of time escaping. I had a group of friends I used to go hang out with, quite shallow people. So I would often break down because of some of the things that were going on in the household. Quite shallow. Once I finally got out of my mother's house, I moved in with my ex, and it was our first apartment, so our house became pretty much the party house, and that's when I started to dive deeper into my drug addiction and drinking, and we would have some pretty wild nights and at that house, because your first house is always a party house. That's kind of how it goes. It wasn't long before my life became nothing but drugs and alcohol, getting high and escaping. I hated life, I hated myself, I hated everybody in it, I hated the world. And drugs was my main escape, and that's what I used. And I used it for years upon years upon years. I was a drug addict for a long, long time. It sent me to prison, it sent me to many places. It was rough. After some time, my ex got pregnant with my first child, and his name was Miles. And at the time we had moved out of that first apartment, we were living from efficiency to efficiency. It was not a good situation, and I pretty much begged her to not have the kid because of our situation. We can't take care of kids, and she said she was against abortions, and I said, hey, I kind of am too, but reality's reality. Let's get with the program. Let's understand that we can't do this right now. Luckily, it turned out
a great
okay,
way.
but
a great way to get out of it.
She stopped taking her birth control pills, and once again she got pregnant. We went through the same spiel, and she got pregnant again, and now we have 2 kids together. So there's that. I eventually went to prison, and upon being released from prison, I gave her a call. I was like, listen, what's up? I thought we were still together and whatnot, you know what I mean? She was like, well, no, actually I found another guy. And I was pretty upset at the time, because I had no place to go, and if I went back to my mom's, I went back to chaos. So, and that was the only other place I had to go, so I ended up going back to my mother's and to the chaos that it brings. After a while, she did call me. The things that happened at my mother's house were not good things. There was all kinds of mishaps, and my poor stepfather was back and forth with her consistently. Eventually, she did give me a call, said she needed some help with the kids, and we moved down there. and I moved down there. She was like, I need help with the kids. If you could stay here, I'll stay at Serio's house most of the time. You can use the apartment and watch the kids. I was like, that sounds fucking perfect. I'm just fresh out of prison. I have no place to go. I get to see my kids every day. That's absolutely wonderful. So I moved down there. I furnished the house for free, might I add. I didn't pay for none of that, but I furnished the house. And I tried to make it as nice as I could. It was an apartment, rather, excuse me. And we ended up getting into this falling out fight one day because I had met somebody in the apartment complex. And this somebody just so happens to have turned out to be my wife. When I met Roxy, I met her while she was carrying groceries in. I asked her if she could help, and as stubborn as she is, she said, no, I got it. And I said, all right, I'm going to give you a hand anyways. And some along those lines. But the initial greeting was our kids introducing us. This is my dad, this is my mom, and I kind of stumbled on a few of my words. She was a gorgeous woman, absolutely gorgeous, and I helped her out. We got to know each other. We went on a lot of walks at night with her dog. She used to have a dog named Lexi that she would walk, and we got to know each other, and we ended up getting together. When I moved in with her is when child support came. That's when a lot of issues came because I had to move in with her. One day I went back to my ex's house and she claimed that I was disrespecting her home, which was an apartment, by something about putting out cigarettes on the outside wall by the bushes. It was supposedly disrespectful to her home. Forget about the fact that I furnished the whole house and I did all this thing. Yeah, I kept the house clean, which was something that she usually wasn't that great at. But that's beyond the point. I went back and I had to we got into a little bit of a physical altercation, and you know how women are. Sometimes they think they're beyond their strength, and I had to basically restrain her, and I had to tell her to knock it the fuck off, and I had to tell her what the deal was, and I'm getting the fuck out of here. I'm not doing this for you no more, because I was also taking care of one of her own children that was not mine. Her name was Lily. I love that kid, but by the time I was with my ex, she had 4 kids of her own by one man, and 2 twins and 2 boys, and I had 2 kids by another woman, which also she had a kid, and so I was taking care of 3 kids. She was taking care of 4 kids, so it was a little much at the time. So there was a little bit of time spent away. We lived right across from each other.
Hey Joy, salute. How you doing, mama?
Check. I'm froze up, and that's unacceptable. Hold up a second. That is unacceptable. As important to this as this presentation is to me, that's very unacceptable. We cannot let that be happening. I can skip right back to that location. If you guys plan to stay, hopefully you do. If not, it's okay. I don't. I know people have things to do. Let me see here. The best way to do this is application not responder. You'll end this process. Yes, if you get rid of a fucking boom, man. It's my Sicilian that comes out of me every now and then. Oh, sorry. Is that better? I'm sorry about that. My camera's is out of focus too. I'm in the Matrix. Oh shit, I'm in the no, I'm just online. Alright, hold on. Here we go. Let me get back here. I did all this thing, and eventually she did give me a call, said she needed some help with the kids when, forget about the fact that I furnished being my wife. When I met Roxy, I met her while she was carrying groceries in. I asked her if she could help, and as stubborn as she is, she said, no, I got it. And I said, all right, I'm going to give you a hand anyways. And something along those lines. But the initial greeting was our kids introducing us. This is my dad, this is my mom, and I kind of stumbled on a few of my words. She was a gorgeous woman, absolutely gorgeous, and I helped her out. We got to know each other. We went on a lot of walks at night with her dog. She used to have a dog named Lexi that she would walk, and we got to know each other, and we ended up getting together. When I moved in with her is when child support came. That's when a lot of issues came because I had to move in with her. One day I went back to my ex's house and she claimed that I was disrespecting her home, which was an apartment, by something about putting out cigarettes on the outside wall by the bushes. It was supposedly disrespectful to her home. Forget about the fact that I furnished the whole house and I did all this thing. Yeah, I kept the house clean, which was something that she usually wasn't that great at. But that's beyond the point. I went back and I had to we got into a little bit of a physical altercation, and you know how women are. Sometimes they think they're beyond their strength, and I had to basically restrain her, and I had to tell her to knock it the fuck off, and I had to tell her what the deal was, and I'm getting the fuck out of here. I'm not doing this for you no more, because I was also taking care of one of her own children that was not mine. Her name was Lily. I love that kid, but by the time I was with my ex, she had 4 kids of her own by one man, and 2 twins and 2 boys, and I had 2 kids by another woman, which also she had a kid, and so I was taking care of 3 kids. She was taking care of 4 kids, so it was a little much at the time. So there was a little bit of time spent away. We lived right across from each other.
I'm sure the 13-year gap had something to do with that, but I think it was mainly due to the kind of relationship.
Okay, so here, where we are right here, I thought it was important to show me giving my eulogy at my little sister's funeral. This video is intended to educate and help people understand the impact of things like drunk driving at a young age when you aren't the best driver in the first place, and what alcoholism and drug addiction does to the family. So that's why I made the decision to put this in this video. So here it is.
But I have to say, for the kind of person she was, she seemed to have this kind of unspoken understanding between one another. 100%. We never passed judgment on each other. And if she wanted to pass judgment on me, she could have been out. She saw me make a lot of mistakes. And she was there for some of my dark things. Even recently, I had a complete mental breakdown and just went out of control, and she still had a we gave her.
This is her car.
I'm sure the 13-year age gap had something to do with that, but I think it was mainly due to the kind of relationship that I had to say, for the kind of person she was. She seemed to have this kind of unspoken understanding between one another.
Oh, I see what's happened. I see. I had a song here that I had to remove due to copyright infringement. So this was XXX Tentacion's Sad Song, and that's what was playing during this segment, and I had to remove it due to copyright violation. She loved X, and I thought it was a good fit, and I tried to dispute it with them, saying, hey, listen, this is one of her favorite songs, and they just didn't want to hear it. I wanted to honor my sister, and it's like in one of the new place of residence.
Citrus County are mourning the loss of two young teens
Mike,
killed in a
he
weekend
was a
crash.
noble man,
A third
but
teenager
he was
still
also at the
recovering in
same time a
hospital
bit
right now.
shallow. I
ABC
helped
Action
Mike
News reporter
pack
Kara Mosher
his
is in
stuff up.
Crystal River
I
with the
drove him
chilling
to his
images
place of
captured
residence,
just
which
minutes
was a
before
small
that deadly
apartment with
accident.
one male roommate.
Well, this
And
weekend,
a
those
week
three
later, I
teens
got a
were
phone
coming in their
call.
vehicle right
Michael
down
is
US
dead
19 when they veered
on
off the road,
the living
ultimately
room floor
slamming
of
right
the
into
apartment
that
that you
tree.
dropped him
Now
off
their
at.
family members
Drug
posting
overdose.
this haunting message
To
on
put him
Facebook.
on. This if y'all could pardon me for one moment here, if y'all could kindly pardon me here, this I'm having some issues with overlapping audio with this, and it's messing up my video. And I said it is definitely an important video for me. I want to see if I have a better version on here, because this is not doing me justice, and I don't appreciate it right now. This really kind of sucks. And is this the one we were just on? I believe it was. Fallen Families is one of them. Let me check this one. I helped Mike pack. Okay, so Fallen Family. So the other one would be The downfall of family values.
ABC
I helped
Action
Mike
News reporter
pack
Kara Moshik
his
is
stuff
in
up. No, they're the same. They're the same. Alright, so here we go.
18-year-old young girl that was out having fun, doing things that 18-year-olds do. She was enjoying life and having fun with her friends, and drugs and alcohol obviously are in the mix of that. She was by far an addict of any kind. However, Sage is a perfect precursor for me to kick this off with, because she is kind of a signification of the end result.
This is on
so
point
people
now.
write books about things like addiction and what it does to the family and to the individuals. What I want to do here is kind of tell my story a little bit, kind of how I came up, the things that I went through, the transgressions that our family went through, and how it completely demolished everything and everything around us. I want to hopefully do this to maybe help other people, other young people that may be going through a similar situation, to understand that these things are beyond their control. When it comes to your parents, it turned me into somebody that was driven by anger, by emotion. I was angry, I was sad, when it comes pissed off at the world. I hated everything and everyone in it, and I felt like a victim. That seems to be a big common thing these days, that everybody is claiming victimhood, and it's something that I often preach to my children. Do not allow yourself to be a victim to anything. These are circumstances that you are going through. You will get through them. Be a survivor, be a fighter, be the person that is just taking it and running with it. It's easier said than done, but I think the main point is to not be a victim. Don't consider yourself a victim. Consider yourself a fighter and a survivor that has gotten through shit, or that is going through shit, that is fighting through shit. Do not be a victim. And this is a mantra I repetitiously preach to my children. So what I want to do here is it's a little bit of kind of my history and my upbringing. All right, you're gonna learn a little bit about me. We'll start off with a very brief summary of my upcoming, and I'll introduce you to my biological father that I had never met, that died of a heroin addiction, my stepfather that died of a heroin overdose, my little sister that, if you may or may not know, died at 18 years old in a drunk driving car accident. So as you can see, these things are kind of full circle. My mother is not excluded, and this is a reflection piece. I want to tell my story, and I want it to be able to maybe, hopefully, help at least one person. Maybe somebody can see this and see that somebody else has gone through it and came out of it on the other end, a little banged up, a little rough around the edges, but still fucking kicking ass. Alright, so roll with me and let's get this shit started, shall we? It's dark here, lonely and cold. No sense of human connections, no sense of home. I roam through the labyrinth of dark hallways, chasing an illusion. I thought I saw an angel opening her arms to me within my confusion. I dream of her often. Beautiful blue and white wings keep her afloat as she illuminates everything around her, as if her mere presence evokes joy and happiness upon her surroundings. She moves in slow motion, floating gently through the air as she slowly approaches. And as she places her hand over my heart, she says in the most beautiful heavenly voice, "I sense much pain in you, my child." Yes, I reply. I'm tired of this life. All the using, all the lies, all the confusion, the disguises, the delusions deep inside, and I refuse to keep on fighting in this fight that isn't mine. With all the crying in my nights, all my desires and my sights are sliding by, 'cause I'm too high to rise above this dying life, and I'm afraid. Imprisoned in this cage on this imaginary stage where I just rant and I just rave and no one listens, no one stays. Take me away, I hate this place. I hate this cage, I hate this maze. I hate the darkness of these days. I hate this rage inside me blazing. Memories that just keep fading. I'm insane, no one can save me from this pain. Please, angel, take me. And as I open my eyes in anticipation of some kind of comforting words from the angel, she's gone, leaving behind the hope that perhaps one day she'll return to set me free. That was a piece of poetry that I wrote as a very young man when I
Thank you, Princess. I got something to add to that.
It's the criticism of my own, and I'm probably my own worst critic. So if you choose to stick around,
I won't let me stop it. This was a live, and I was going to add the same thing to you, Joyce, if you understand what I'm saying. So let me get back to it. This was a live. This is a recording of a live, and Joy, who said, somebody, Liz or somebody said the same thing, and I stopped it, and I wanted to explain this point about this. And can you hear me? Holy shit! Check. Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. What I was saying is this was a live presentation, and at the time somebody else said the same exact thing that you just said. Your poem is fire, and I wanted to explain a little bit. Joyce, you still can't hear? You still can't hear, Joyce? Check. Can everybody hear? Joyce can't hear. Hold on. Wait. Oh, no, you can't. Oh, you can't hear I'm not playing the other thing. Oh, no, what I'm saying is, can you hear my voice is what I'm asking. Can you hear my voice? So I wanted to explain something real quick. Okay, you can hear I can hear, oh, barely. All right, is that better? All right, so here's the thing. This was a pre-recorded live that I had to re-upload, okay? And when I got done with that poem, somebody said the same thing as you did, Joyce. Your poem is fire. And I wanted to explain something about this poem that had recently dawned on me. And I thought it was rather fascinating. So, and it was something I was about to stop and do, and I forgot it was a pre-recorded. So, this is a very interesting thing about this poem that I had noticed after the fact. All right, let's go. I don't know why this is acting like this. Let me see here.
from the angel, she's gone, leaving behind the hope that perhaps one day she'll return to set me free. That was a piece of poetry that I wrote as a very young man when I
Thank you, Princess. I got something to add to that. I realized just like a month ago, as I listened to that, I wrote that poem to my mom. And I'm 30 years old. I'm 35 years old. I'm just now realizing I wrote that poem to my mom. Because I needed her so bad, and I needed to talk to her so bad. I realized that that's who I wrote that fucking poem to. Isn't that crazy? Alright, let's roll. Okay, so before I go on with that, yeah, the crazy thing is that was like a conflation of my younger childhood and Cashmere Queen. You know about art. Anybody else in here that likes poem or poetry and spoken word and art, verbal art, literary art, understands this. You might write something and later on understand what it means, and this was one of those situations. This is very recent, and I wrote that poem a long time ago, and that poem was like a conflation of my older childhood and my younger childhood. And when she wasn't there, younger childhood, she would leave me at my grandmother's all the time, and she was like my savior, my hero. I felt like my mother was my hero, the best thing smoking. She was an awesome person. I just wanted to be with my mother, and she would leave me at my grandmother's all the time to go out to find herself a man, to help take care of us and get us into our own place, is what she would always tell me. And not that that's something that you should tell your kid, but it would kill me every time she walked out that door, because my grandmother's house was like a prison, and I hated it. I despised living at my grandmother's house, and she didn't let me do anything. She didn't let me have friends. I had very few toys, and it was just not a good place to be for a young man growing up in his childhood. And it just broke me down every time she walked out that door, and it happened so often. And for the most part, I was with my grandmothers from the age of maybe 1 to, I want to say, 11 or 12. And I went through that for the first 10 years of my life, and then the next 10 years of my life, you probably have seen and will see more here. So there's that. Sorry I had to stop the video. Very alone, and I felt very shunned, and I felt like there was no one to go to or no way out. So you can interpret it the way that you want to. That's what art is about. But that's the state of mind that I was in when I wrote that. I was very young when I wrote that. I was born to a woman at the age of 18, and my father, I believe, was in his mid-20s, if I'm not mistaken. Their marriage did not last long. They ended up splitting up. My father was a heroin addict. He, about 4 years after, 2 or 3 or 4 years, I don't know, it's hazy, after he left my mother, or they split up rather, he contracted the HIV virus from injecting heroin and hepatitis C and all that good stuff that you get from repeatedly injecting heroin. So my mother was still very young. She was still kind of in her social days or partying days. So I ended up staying with my great-grandparents for about 10 years of my life. The first 10 years of my life-ish. I went back and forth a couple times living with her and her boyfriends, and it would never work out, and I would always end up back there. Around the time I was, I want to say 11 or 12 years old, is when my mother found Mike, my stepfather. They got together, and we ended up moving in together, all of us. I'll pause this real quick for Stacy. Stacy, this is the video I wanted to present to you guys to kind of tell my story and kind of break down the I know everybody didn't have time to watch the Butterfly series, so it kind of breaks down the Butterfly series in the quickest manner it possibly can. So this is another one from the live. I'm trying to get through it now, so hope you enjoy it. Very happy to be out of my grandmother's house because she was a damn tyrant. She was very authoritarian. She was a very authoritarian parental person. She did not like me to have friends. She did not like me to go outside for too long and play. I really wasn't allowed to be a kid, you know. So I was pretty much stuck in my room with the very few toys I had and MTV, pretty much, music and radio, and that's kind of what I threw myself into, is music. I can still remember as a young boy standing in front of that mirror fantasizing about becoming a rock star. Now once I moved in with my stepfather and my mother, it was smooth for a very short amount of time. Things started to really crank up pretty quickly. Mike was an alcoholic. My mother did some drinking, but she loved her pills, and the fights would ensue, and it got to the point to where every other weekend the police were at our house for domestic violence, and I saw some very horrific, ugly things. I will be making a Patreon video that will go dive deeper into some of the things that went down that I'd rather not go through on YouTube. So if you want to subscribe to my Patreon, I'll leave a link
but there's some things I'd rather not say on YouTube. However, the drugs and alcohol really did a number. They weren't the type of people that could take drugs and alcohol and self-sustain. They weren't functional drinkers, or they weren't functional addicts by any stretch of the imagination. We lived in this apartment complex, and there would be nights where, you know, my mother would threaten to kill herself, and she would lie in the streets to get hit by a car. There were times we'd have to hide the knives in the house from her. Very embarrassing moments where I'd be walking with a group of my friends, and we'd hear whimpering from bushes, and that would be my mother in the bushes, and I would have to help her home. So these were very embarrassing times and very ugly times, and I do wish to put a disclaimer on this. I myself, which I will get into within this series, was also a long-time drug addict, and I did some heinous things myself. Alright, so I do not by any means say these things pointing the finger, but I digress. The fighting didn't cease, and it was a very rough situation to be in as a young man, and it was very embarrassing, you know, because I had friends and they would have to see it as well. So after quite some time of this going on, my mother ended up pregnant with my little sister. During all this, I was really starting to get beaten down from it. You know, it was really starting to take its toll on me. I ended up in the streets, fucking around with gangs. I ended up in GD. Ended up running around with Folk Nation and just doing nothing but getting into trouble. I was arrested twice by the time I was 13 years old, and that just continued throughout my years in and out of jail. So I certainly wasn't stable at the time either. So once they got pregnant with Sage, they made the decision to get married. Brilliant idea, considering the state of their relationship. But they got married. So they got married. We ended up moving into another place, and there were times that it would cool down for very, very short periods, but I would say 95% of the time it was absolute chaos. It was drinking and getting fucked up and screaming and shouting at each other and getting physical. Mike would not beat or hit my mother. It was my mother that was the aggressor consistently. I remember times where I saw my mom grab him by a handful of his hair and beat him in the face, and when he left the house, she would begin beating her own face for when the cops came to blame it on him. Now Mike wasn't really a man's man. He was more of a beta kind of guy. He didn't have the faculties really to be a father, at least not to a young man. I couldn't look to him for fatherly advice or anything like that. He was a bit shallow. But I don't take anything away from Mike for that, because Mike had a heart full of love. He loved us. He cared for us deeply, you know, and I believe that was just part of his personality. And it took me it took me a while to really grasp that and understand that. But the times that, there were times that, you know, my mother would do things like call the police on me and tell them that I was selling drugs out of their house. And the only thing that I had back in the day was my room. I took pride in my room. I made it really nice, and I set it up really nice. And when she did that and the cops came and tossed my room, I completely snapped, and I grabbed a baseball bat and I busted out all the windows in the car. Because damn it, that was my room, and that was the only thing I had, you know. Well, I was probably about 16 at that age. And I'm going to skip over a lot of things, you know, because there's tons and tons of hours upon hours that I could talk about different things that went on, but I'll keep it brief here. So as Sage was starting to get a little bit older, obviously the consistent bickering and fighting amongst them would not stop, and the violence, and there would be times where they would split up. And when they did split up, Sage was my mother's bargaining chip, and she would use her against him and not let him see her, and eventually she got my stepfather locked up into prison. Not a man that deserved to be in prison by any stretch of the imagination. I was a complete lost soul at this point. I was completely lost and deep into my drug addiction already. Couldn't have been more than 17, 18 years old maybe when this happened. But my recollection of time is a bit foggy, probably because of all the drugs I did when I was younger. I saw some very heinous things that went on in the household that really disturbed me because of the type of person that I am. I just don't think life should be lived in that manner. And I told Mike so many times, just leave, man. Just please, just leave. But, you know, Michael, he loved that little girl so much, you couldn't tell him nothing. He would just keep coming back and coming back and coming back. And it was always the same damn thing. Mike wasn't perfect. You know, he was pretty much a fuck up on a lot of things. He made a lot of mistakes. He made a lot of dumb decisions. He wasn't the brightest guy in the world. But god damn it, that man loved his family. And once I collected that, once I realized that, it really started to bother me. It really started to eat me up. Because after a while, it got to the point to where there was nothing he could do right. Absolutely nothing. And this was not just my mother, you know. This was my mother and her family, her whole family, except for maybe my aunt, that would just team up on him and just completely kick him while he was down, constantly, never offering a hand up, never saying, all right, let's get through this, never sitting down to make a plan, never sitting down to say, hey, all right, we fucked up, we got to make some decisions here, we got to move forward. I don't care who you are. If you're not hurting anybody, and if you're a person with love in your heart, and you're caring, and you're trying, you don't deserve that kind of treatment. Mike was an alcoholic, but it wasn't long until he turned to pills. And that's when shit really went downhill, and everything really started to spiral out of control. Alright, I thank you guys for watching. A reminder, this is part 1 of a series, so Alright, so that was a collection of it was a collection of different scenes from the series that I tried to put together to kind of let me get myself back on the screen here. Let's see here. There we go. I prefer full cam. Let me get rid of this. Window capture. There we go. And here is little Sophie. Say hello. Make sure they can see you. See the camera way up there. Can you see yourself? Here. Say hello to everybody. Hi. And you know, something else, it messes with you when you try to be a good dad and you try to be a good dad, you try to be a good parent, you try to do what's right in your life, and it just wasn't done for you, and it messes with you a little bit in the future. But what I wanted to say, and kind of what I wanted to expand on when you said it makes me feel bad because I had two supportive parents and fair good parents. We are fair and good parents. My wife and I, we are good parents. And thinking about that, it's like, damn, you know, why couldn't I have it? I want to explain something very clearly, though. I don't want any sympathy for these things. These things I have came to terms with. I have overcome them. I have realized that these things were out of my control. And it's just the hand that I was dealt. And I pushed through it. And it made me who I am today. And I'm okay with it. Because, you know, I'm not okay with it. It would have been better had it been other way. You know, but you can't harp on it, you know. And this is the future messages that are going to go out. And you know, my next video series is likely going to be on myself and how I dealt with things the wrong way, the right way, and other things. They say a man can overcome many things, and I believe that a man can. Yeah, a man and a woman, any person, a human being can overcome anything.
anything if they have the right mindset. And we learned that in AA, we learned that in NA, we learned that in recovery. And we learn it quickly. And I just want to say I don't want sympathy for these things. This is not what I'm looking for. I want to help other people that I know are going through the same thing. And this is just so happens to be one of those things that I have a lot of knowledge in. And there's a lot of other things that I don't, you know. So this is one of the things that maybe I should go after, because I am very familiar with it and I'm very tuned into it, and I get it. Especially when it comes to parenting and all that stuff. I feel good. I feel secure about my stances on what is right and what is wrong, and my moral compass as far as that goes. And I think the next set of videos will be definitely on myself and how I fucked up and how I unfucked up and how I refucked up and unfucked up again. And I think that will help maybe others, you know. But I have to get more people in here. There is a part of me that would like to make this a career. But you know, this is definitely a side thing right now. They don't let you monetize your videos until you get to 1,000 subscribers. So it's like insanity. It's ridiculous. It's like they don't want to give up a piece of the pie to the little guy. You know what I mean? So I'll hit 1,000 subscribers soon. I'll hit them, and I'll be able to monetize my stuff, and I'll be able to use my original stuff, and maybe I'll be able to, you know, help provide off doing something I love. Like, you know, people like Beyonce and Jay-Z, and if they go out there and do things they love all the time, and they get thrown millions of dollars at them, and you can't sit here and tell somebody that wants to be able to profit from their stories, their life stories, and pouring their heart and souls into these videos, shouldn't be able to make a living off of doing something like this, as long as you're consistent and you do it right and you're passionate and you come from a sincere place. So there's that. Is Cash still in here? I see two, and I see Samax and Joyce. Is Cash still in here? That's the question for you. I started this off with one of your tracks too, Cash. If you're still in here. If you're not, it's all good. Doing what you love and getting paid for it. Yeah, it's the best. And they don't understand. I think there's a lot of people that don't understand that. Like, there was a guy that, he was kind of a friend of mine, kind of not a friend of mine, and I don't tell too many people that I do videos on the outside of this world. Cash, are you back? I got a question for you. There's not too many people that I know personally that I'm like, hey, dude, I do videos. Go check them out. Like, I don't do that. This is here. This is with us. And he watched a few of my videos. Like, yeah, check them out if you want to. And he was like, bro, what are you doing, man? You're out here. You're asking for donations and shit. You got merch and shit. Dog, you ain't even that big yet. I was like, bro, listen, if you think that the people that make it in this world, that make music and dance and do theater and act and do all these things that they love to do, and they get paid billions and millions of dollars from doing these things, and you think a little guy can't get on cam and tell his story and articulate it to try to help other people and get paid off of it, you're where's your line of logic? You were just shitting all over the little guy. You know what I mean? Nobody, does anybody care about the little guy? We do. Oh no, I understand that. I do understand that. That's very clear. I understand you have to crawl before you walk. It does not happen overnight. But it's just people's comments is what bothers me. Is about, you know, doing things like asking for donations, or doing things like waiting for the 1,000 subscriber mark so I can monetize my videos, and saying that's not a real job. Bullshit. So that means every artist doesn't have a real job. Every actor doesn't have a real job. They're doing things they like to do, and they're getting paid off it. You know what I'm saying? It's illogical at best. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. So, you know, there's that, and it's been rough doing these videos. It really has. It's been a rough ride, because you got to think about your past, and you got to go through your past and whatnot. You know what I mean? And it sucks. Here's my question. What you guys up to right now? Oh my God, you got... Oh wait, that was old. This video is completely for something else. Did you guys see the let me see. I want to find a short video that I wanted to show you guys, but I might not be able to find it. Have you guys seen my merch? It's dope. Not to buy it, but like, have you seen it? Like, it's fucking dope. It's pretty cool. All these are pretty lengthy, so never mind. There was a short video that I kind of wanted to show you guys, but I don't remember where it is. So I got this thing with Father's Rights Movement. She's confused, not her best today. What's going on with her physically? Oh, thank you, Joyce. Thank you, Joyce. I just made a new one, and I need your opinion on this, Joyce. I need your opinion on this, because I want you to tell me what you think it is, because nobody can figure out what it is. And I lost my chat, damn it. Alzheimer's. Nobody can figure out what they are, or what this is on this t-shirt that I made for women. Okay? And I want you to tell me, if you can tell me what this is, what it signifies, what it means. Because I think this is a very dope shirt. Absolutely dope. And I think it's cool. I just think it's cool. So here it is. I'll show it to you. And I have to go back into here, and where is window capture, properties. Thank you guys for sticking with me. isn't it? Window capture. My computer's running slow. I got so many things running right now. Does anybody want to call on Hangouts and say a word or two? Just hit one or something. You're more than welcome to. You know you always are. Alright, I see. I got a chat. Oh, she's got Alzheimer's. You know, it runs in my wife's family, and I'm fucking terrified. Yep, I think we've all been through those. It runs in my wife's family, and it scares the shit out of me. It scares the shit out of me that it runs in her family. It really, really does. Alright, so my merch store. So if I get back to this, I can show you the actual photos here. Window capture, properties. Is this it? Is this it? That's YouTube. I want that to show up. Oh, I know why. Duh. Let's try that again. Alright. If it doesn't work after this time, I'm done. There it is. Bam. Found it. Alright, so check out this shirt, and you tell me what you think this is. Let me get over here so I can blow it up for you and make it so you can see it better. What do you see there? This picture, this picture right here in the middle. What do you see there? It's a signification of something. Is it showing? Yeah, it is. Okay. Am I missing out on chat? What's going on here? Anything? Do you see anything? Oh, you can't see on your phone. Okay. I got you. Not sure. What it is a woman sitting with her knees to her chest. And I'll do this while I show it to you. This is a woman sitting with her legs out, with wrapped her arms around her knees to her chest, with her head down, and there are butterflies that are floating off of her on her back. That signifies the disassociation with manic depression, and I'm afraid not many people are going to understand what that means. But it's such a dope shirt if you understand what it means. But okay, so I think we are where we are, and I'm gonna let you guys go. I've held you guys here for long enough hostage. I appreciate it, and I'm going to do some videos that are not live. I'm going to do some pre-made videos that I think people like my pre-made videos because I get pretty creative with them. So I'm going to do some pre-made videos on me and my mistakes and stuff because I've said enough about my family, and it's time to go after me. It's no holds barred. Okay, I understand, I understand what it is to know yourself and know your own mistakes, So I'm ready to go in on myself, and I'm ready to do this. Thank you guys so much for watching and staying with me, and follow me, guys. Follow me on Twitter and stuff. And all my links are in the description, and much love to you guys. I will end this with my sponsor because I did not start it with my sponsor, so let me do that, and we're out of here, guys. Much love. I sincerely appreciate you guys. And we are right here. Media source. Alright. So we're going to add my little ad that I made for my buddy. He's got his own business and he's doing pretty damn good, and I'm very proud of him. I was in prison with this guy. And where are we? Right over. Uh-oh. Where are we? Back it up. Back it up. Rendered videos. Cash dues. Oh, there it is. Got it. Alright, let me sort it. Let me make sure I got the right date. Alright, so right here. Salute to all my friends and family out there. This video is sponsored by Titan Auto Detailing, mobile detailing. He will come to you. It is by appointment only. You can get a hold of him 727-7209. No audio. I gotta get my shit together. Fascinating. There's no audio. Oh, I think I know. That's my bad. There is audio, isn't there? Nope. Alright, guys. I'll have to play it for you next time. Much love if you stuck around. And I will be back probably later tonight. Peace out, y'all.